Level 1. Ship's Boy. You wake up in the pitch black. The wooden deck beneath you is freezing and slick with sea spray. You are 9 years old. Your entire life belongs to the British East India Company. You haul thick, wet ropes until the skin peels from your palms. The bosun spots you shivering. He kicks you hard in the ribs with a heavy leather boot. You do not cry. Crying just gets you kicked a second time. Your breakfast is a piece of hardtack bread crawling with black weevils. Your water smells like sulfur and tastes like rust. You scrub the blood and vomit off the main deck. You stare out at the endless, violently gray ocean. You wonder if land is just a story the older sailors made up to keep you working. It does not matter. You coil the lines. You keep your head down. You survive the day. Level 2. Redcoat Private. You are older now. You wear a thick wool tunic in the middle of the jungle. It is 98 degrees. You are sweating through your red coat. You carry a brown Bess musket that weighs over 10 pounds. Your commanding officer is a lord's second son who purchased his military commission with his father's money. He has never been in a real fight. He orders your unit to march in a perfectly straight line directly toward enemy cannon fire. You march. You do not question the order. Discipline is beaten into you harder than the fear of death. The man marching to your left is suddenly torn apart by flying grape shot. You do not blink. You step over his remains. You keep the formation tight. You fire. You reload. You tear the paper cartridge with your teeth. You taste black gunpowder and salt. You survive the slaughter. Your reward for holding the line is a single copper penny and a cup of watered-down rum. Level 3. Company Clerk. You trade the heavy musket for a feather quill. You sit at a dark wooden desk in a stifling office in Calcutta. It is still 98 degrees. You are still sweating through your clothes. But now, you do not kill people with lead bullets. You kill them with basic arithmetic. You record regional grain yields and calculate steep export taxes for the crown. You notice a glaring discrepancy in the ledgers. The local populations are actively starving, but the extraction quotas remain exactly the same. You point this out to your senior supervisor. He barely looks up from his tea. He tells you to adjust the numbers. The company must show a consistent profit to the shareholders in London. You dip your quill into the black inkwell. You physically cross out the truth. You write down the profitable lie. You take a sip of your lukewarm tea. You feel your soul die just a little bit more. Level 4. District Magistrate. You have your own private office now. You have a massive punkah fan pulled rhythmically by a local servant. You are the absolute legal authority for 50,000 people whose native language you barely bother to speak. They bring you complex property disputes, petty thefts, and violent murders. You listen to a court translator who you know perfectly well is taking bribes from both sides. You do not care. The daily paperwork is a mountainous burden. You sentence an exhausted man to 10 years of hard labor for stealing a single sack of company sugar. His wife throws herself at your feet and weeps openly on the floor. You feel absolutely nothing. You are simply a functioning cog in a massive global machine that effectively turns human suffering into reliable quarterly dividends. You sign the final execution order. You dismiss the court for the day. You go home to a quiet, isolated bungalow. Level 5. Naval Captain. You are back on the open water, but you are not scrubbing the bloody decks anymore. You stand completely still on the pristine quarterdeck of a third-rate ship of the line. You have 74 heavy bronze cannons and 500 desperate men who wait for your singular command. A foreign coastal port officially refuses to open its docks for British commercial trade. You receive strict orders from London to negotiate terms. You know exactly what negotiation means in the Royal Navy. You calmly order the master gunner to load solid iron shot into the starboard battery. You completely level a town of fragile wooden houses in under an hour. You watch the orange fires burn brightly from your comfortable cabin window. You pour yourself a large glass of expensive port wine. You sit at your mahogany desk. You write in your official logbook that the local enemy was regrettably uncooperative. The British Empire expands. Level 6. Trade Commissioner. You do not wear military uniforms anymore. You wear expensive bespoke suits tailored in Savile Row. You sit deep inside a plush leather armchair in an exclusive private members' club in the heart of London. You personally control the massive flow of illicit opium into restricted foreign markets. It is highly illegal. It is deeply immoral. It is incredibly, unfathomably lucrative. A rising politician attempts to publicly block your next major maritime shipment. You do not threaten him with physical violence. You simply purchase all of his outstanding gambling debts through a quiet proxy. You own him now. He withdraws his opposition the very next morning. You watch the extracted wealth of entire subjugated continents funnel directly into a single square mile of the city. You realize you are no longer a mere servant of the vast empire. You are the exact reason the empire exists in the first place. Level 7. Brigadier General. You command entire national armies from a lavish campaign tent filled with imported Persian rugs and crystal decanters. You look down at massive topographical maps. You slide wooden blocks across the paper, representing tens of thousands of living, breathing lives. You carelessly send a light cavalry charge directly into a fortified rocky valley just to secure a lucrative diamond mine for the board of directors. It is a catastrophic strategic blunder. 2,000 of your own men are slaughtered in under 20 minutes. You immediately draft a report blaming a dead subordinate officer for the fatal miscalculation. You have his corpse posthumously court-martialed. You write a glorious, highly fictionalized dispatch to the London newspapers. They call it a tragic but heroic sacrifice for the crown. They build towering bronze statues of you in public squares. You receive a prestigious medal directly from the Queen. You wear it proudly on your chest. Level 8. Colonial Governor. You rule a conquered territory twice the physical size of your own homeland. You live inside a sprawling marble palace maintained by 200 silent servants. Every single person you meet bows deeply to you. Every trivial word you say is immediately written down by a dedicated scribe. But you quickly realize you are just a well-dressed prisoner. You cannot walk the public streets. There are desperate assassins hiding everywhere. You survive 2 separate poisoning attempts and a carriage bombing in a single month. You do not know who you can actually trust. Your political advisors constantly lie to you just to keep you placated. Your military commanders lie to you to hide their ongoing tactical failures. You sign dozens of execution warrants before you even finish eating your morning breakfast. You are completely and utterly alone, completely surrounded by a massive crowd of smiling sycophants who want you dead. Level 9. Secretary of State for the Colonies. You are permanently back in London. You sit behind a massive oak desk in the highest office in Whitehall. Territorial governors report directly to you. Hardened generals beg you for additional troops and funding. You draw arbitrary lines on maps with an expensive gold fountain pen. With a single careless stroke, you invent an entirely new country. You split ancient ethnic groups in half. You combine bitter historical enemies inside a single artificial border. You know with absolute certainty that this simple ink line will cause brutal civil wars for the next 100 years. You do not care. It makes perfect administrative sense for today's fiscal budget. You attend a lavish evening dinner party with high society. You politely discuss romantic poetry and fine Renaissance art while sipping champagne. Your manicured hands are completely clean of any physical dirt. Your soul is completely, irreversibly black. Level 10. Viceroy. You are the absolute Viceroy. You are the Emperor's living shadow. You speak with the unquestionable voice of the crown. You hold absolute, terrifying dominion over hundreds of millions of subjugated subjects. Your royal arrival stops entire cities. Your departure empties them. You have finally reached the absolute, undeniable peak of global power. And yet, you are deeply terrified. You see the structural cracks forming in the foundation. The violent rebellions are growing larger. The national debts are mounting exponentially. The great imperial machine is rusting from the inside out. You spend your days silently reviewing highly classified intelligence reports detailing your own impending historical doom. You are the well-dressed captain of a massive sinking ship, aggressively pretending it is still a luxury cruise. You stand on your private balcony, looking out at a vast continent you technically own but can never truly control. You drink your tea. It has gone cold. The sun never sets on your empire. But the darkness is already here.